Today I've been checking out CyberCorp, which is out now in early access on Steam for £11.50, but that's with 10% off at the moment. Also, as normal, I apologise for my voice, I'm recovering from COVID. CyberCorp is a fast-paced twin-stick isometric looter shooter set in a cyberpunk world where you control a synthetic soldier in battle. You can play a solo or with friends. So, what do you get for your money? Well, I must say for early access, the developer is super active. Like every time I open Steam, there's a new update going on this game. He's listening to feedback, which is always good to see. Game-wise, you get a semi-interesting story, I guess, but as normal, I tend to skip these things. There's 15 story missions with 3 boss fights, and there's a few random missions and like little boss fights dotted around inside the game world. Each level has a different difficulty level attached to it, which adds some replayability there as well. So there's a good amount to keep you busy for the money. Gameplay wise, the action is pretty fast paced as you would expect with lots of enemies to kill. The controls, even with a controller, are pretty tight. It's also compatible on Steam Deck and people are saying it works well on there. The game throws so much loot at you. Even after 30 minutes, I had a boatload. I suppose this could be seen as a bad thing as you never really get attached to any weapon or any armor, but I found it fine. I quite enjoy getting lots of loot. One thing about the loot that I would say is you can't upgrade your weapons, which was a bit of a shame. So it means you're always looking for something else. AI isn't super challenging. They do the difficulty of, well, they just become more bullet spongy rather than smarter. And they tend to just lock you in small areas to deal with them, which can get a bit annoying. Combat works really well with the skills you get. Low health enemies can be like finished with like a special finishing move, which then has you a higher chance to net some currency or health pickups. Most levels also have hidden areas or rooms. They're usually accessible through some small environmental puzzle or hidden path to get there, which leads to getting lots of loot if you're willing to look. The map design on the whole, I would say was functional. It's not amazing, but they usually flowed pretty well and it was pretty obvious where you needed to go. The absolute worst part of this game is the Gears of War reload system. So, you know, like you'll get the reload bar and if you hit X at the right time, it'll reload quicker. It's dreadful. It really disrupts the flow of the combat in this game. And you can't equip more than 2 skills, which is a bit of a shame. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of like a hotbar full of skills. The only other thing I didn't really like is the characters were super generic, which is why I kind of turned myself off with the story because I didn't really find them enjoyable or like them. Graphically, I think this game has a nice art style with some decent lighting effects, but the UI and UX elements could do with a pass. I don't think they worked great in a lot of situations. Sound design, the music was alright, it looped a little bit too much, but the guns sounded decent. There was no issues there. In conclusion, I don't think this is a bad game. It's well put together, and you know what? It worked. I didn't see any bugs. I had no crashes or anything. It needs a few changes, as mentioned above, and the developer being so active is a great thing. But the biggest issue for me here is, what is this game doing to stand out? It's a pretty crowded place, Steam. Is there something here that makes me go, wow, that's worth the money? And I just wasn't sure there was anything like that. It was a looter shooter, but a little bit too generic. But anyway, guys, that's all I've got to say on the matter. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.